Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to GreenZone. I am your host, Eoghan, and I am once again by myself. Chris thought I did such a great job last time that he just left me to it again. So this time, joined once again by Sam and Sophie. You're supposed to
Hello.
wave or something.
Hi.
Glad to be back.
and joined this time by Jenny Kavanagh from the South Dublin Panthers. And
Hello.
So we run the world. The women's flag tournament happened on Sunday, so that's obviously what we're here to talk about. If you read the title, and I suppose I'll just kind of start with kind of the games in order because there's a lot of them. So we'll just fire through them as kind of quickly as we can. Especially for the ones that are like not the teams you guys are on, because obviously we haven't got people to tell us about how those went. I was actually stat tracking for the first game, the Sacks in the City against the Huskies, which was 54-0 to Sacks in the City. Yeah.
Standard.
Yeah,
that just says a lot about Sacks and not Huskies.
Oh yeah, it's nothing. No reflection of Huskies' ability.
Yeah.
Sacks in the City, you obviously everybody knows the name Phoebe Schechter. Everybody knows she's unbelievable, but I barely noticed her in the game. There was Sam's gone. She's back. Yeah, I barely noticed Phoebe Schechter in that game. I don't even know if she played in that game because there was a girl. She did play in that game. She did. But there was a girl, Magdalena, I believe was her name.
Yeah.
And she was outrageous. Crazy. You just throw the ball into her general vicinity and she's got catching. And that goes for both quarterbacks because she was playing both ways. Because Sacks in the City were actually playing I think they had 2 5-a-side rosters, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Sacks they were 5 in the country were 5. They just played both ways.
Yeah, so there you go. They're playing the whole game, the whole time, no rest, and still producing at the highest level. Yeah. They are ridiculous. The second game was the Quetzals and the Trojans, and that ended 6-6. Sophie, tell us about that.
It was good. It was a good start. It was slow starting. They had a silent snap sort of thing. And the Quetzals, not silent, but really quiet. That threw me off of the start. But no, it was good. Pretty evenly matched, obviously, for the 6-6. Yeah.
Who was it? We'll just make sure to give them credit. Who scored the touchdown for the Trojans?
Ellie.
Yeah. She was Kelly's friend who played in. Yes.
Yeah. She plays for the Malaysian national team.
Yeah.
It showed. Yeah, it showed. She was extremely good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I can't remember who it was against. There was one play. I think I got a photo of it as well, and they actually just had to wrap tackle her to stop her from getting the touchdown. They couldn't they couldn't contain. She was unbelievable. And Sam will hate me now for bringing this one up again.
I won't, Owen, because me and Jenny are friends. Okay.
You shouted at me every time I brought it up on Sunday.
That's because you were being mean about it.
I was not. I was just asking you what the score was so I could do the graphics.
You didn't ask me about the Childs game, and then you posted we won that one, and we didn't, and that was embarrassing.
Yeah, that was. For you. I would like to apologize for that single incorrect score I posted. I think I did rather well to only fuck up once.
Wow.
So.
You knew what the score was. Just talk about it. It's fine.
You shouldn't be giving out. I gave you an extra win. I'm helpful. But yes, no. Your first game was against greatest team in the world, South Dublin Panthers. Emphasis on the dub in Dublin, because they came out 20-12 winners.
Yep.
I got to catch the end of this. didn't take very wrapping up their game. And I went over and it was 12-6, I think, or 12-7, like 12-1 score.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I got there just in time to see, was it Zara scored the touchdown?
Yeah.
And that was a cool moment watching that kind of happen, because I didn't get to see the first touchdown. I'm not sure who scored it. Do we know?
I think Jenny.
Yes.
Jenny scored quite a few. She
Yeah.
might have lost track. Great. And then you just thought, that's not enough for me. And you went and got a game-sealing pick 6.
Yeah. Game sealing pick 6 man had when we were like, I want to say within the 5 yards of the end zone, and we were going, all we need is a touchdown here, 1 touchdown, and we're winning. Like, it's fine.
And
then
it was,
I was well aware of that too, though.
Like Jenny was like, yeah, 1 touchdown, and we'll like overtake this game, and it's fine. And I literally think the words came out of my mouth. We just need a touchdown as Jenny. Oh, hello, Hugo. As Jenny caught the ball.
Hugo's back.
He's not wearing his jumper today, though.
So he's licking his armpits.
Oh yeah. But like literally, I said, we just need 1 touchdown. It's fine. And then as I said it, Jenny caught the ball, and I was like, yeah.
Do you know? I actually think I saw that too from the sideline. It was actually quite good.
Yeah.
It was. You got 2 pick 6s in the same drive as well, but one of them was flagged, was it?
Yeah, one of them we had. What?
I think
there was some call that happened beforehand.
Yeah, I think.
Was it like shielding or something?
I actually don't even know what the call was.
I can't remember, but I think it was really confusing because, to be honest, I think we thought it was going to turn over anyway. And then, but I think it was like conflicting penalties or something that then it stayed with us. And we were like, okay, we'll take it. Like, no complaint.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what it was. I think it was shielding on, technically it was shielding on the defense because it was a pick or something. But then I don't really know. There was some kind of penalty. And then
there was some penalty. I actually don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't get allowed anyway.
Yeah. And then Jenny just did it again at the other end of the field, so it was fine.
I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah. But that game, I was nervous in that game for like a lot of it. But I probably didn't need to be in the end because I was only nervous because I just saw Phoenix's lineup on offense and we had all 5 players who were rookies on defense. And so I was just standing there like quite nervous, but obviously the coaches weren't at all and had every right not to be because the girls absolutely balled out like on defense. I couldn't believe the way, like it was just mad how well they were actually doing for it being like, aside from we went up to Trojans and played a friendly, it being their first like competitive rep, they just did such a good job. And kind of allowed that space because like when you think about that pick 6 being at the end of a game, it's tough to get them when you're a bit more tired. So the fact that I only was on offense for the start and was getting breaks probably like lent to that. So I think it was just really good coaching decisions, to be honest.
Yeah, like it was honestly a class game. Like I remember we came off at halftime and Ian was like you guys have just played your first half as a team. Because like also up until, I think I said it last week because I was like, I'll not publicize this, but like up until like the actual tournament, the most people we had at a training session was 6 people. So like we hadn't and it was essentially the 4 Dragons, Rebecca and Haley came a couple times, and then I think there was one week where Ella and Aoife came as well, but like it was never all of us together. So it was one of those things where like we had a rookie QB who hadn't thrown to most of our team before, so like for her to work out speeds and stuff of like, because also people like Rebecca and Sarah E are like ridiculously fast, and then there's people like me who like jog, you know, so like speed wise it's just so for her, like we were like, you've just played like your first competitive half as a QB, and like at that point we were up, but we were like, that's not the point. Like we were like, actually, you know, like we're doing this and we're doing this well together. So for us, like that was like, Ian was like, you guys need to take this and remember it. Like he was like, regardless of the final score, like this is such a big achievement for us.
Yeah, that QB did a ridiculously good job, Sam. Like
Yeah.
I got to watch her in a different game, and I was like, to not be panicking at all when it's like your first reps on that. Like once she gets that throw more bullet-like, more straight, the only that it's a bit floaty, so it is a bit easier to track and go get it on defense. But like the minute that she gets more reps at that, and that's a bullet, like her reads are so good considering she's only
Yeah, like we are talking about somebody who, like, what, a month ago maybe picked up a ball and just decided they were a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's like whenever the whole Phoenix thing was being discussed, we were like, the only question is, can any of us throw a ball? Because there is no point in us deciding to meet this other team if no one knows how to throw a ball. Like, that's so stupid. And then we were all just like, as Dragons, we were all just chucking the ball around one day and like not trying to throw it like a quarterback, but like literally just throwing the ball to each other. And it was a couple of the guys were like, she clearly knows how, like, she's got a good arm, she's got good aim. Like, if we actually teach her how to throw like a quarterback, like, there's real potential. So, and like, I think within the first 5 minutes, like, I sent you that video in like the first 5 minutes, and then she like was throwing the ball to routes, and we were like, yeah, we'll be fine. Like, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
was she wearing like slides in that video as well or something like it?
Yeah.
And was just throwing absolute dimes. It was ridiculous.
Madness.
Yeah.
Like she did so well. Like we all, and she's normally like a defensive player, like she's not like offense. So for her to have just read that all so well, like we were like, honestly, Chloe, like 10 out of 10. So good.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, like I played on the Panthers youth team for however many years, 3 or 4 years, and every year you could get up to 10 people who would come, and their only goal is to play quarterback, and not a single one of them can throw. Like, none of them can throw. Every single year it would happen, and they'd never come back, and it was the worst because you're like, oh my god, look at all these people we have, and then you've nobody because they all wanted to throw, but none of them could. But like so, kind of just watching her just pick up a ball and be like, yeah, I'm a quarterback now. That's fine. I'm a quarterback. Like, and play as well as she did. Like, it was outrageous. I watched her make a few plays in a few different games, and it's madness.
No, she was good. She's impressive. She's one to watch, I would say. You know,
definitely 100%.
Yeah.
Move on to the second round of seeding games. Then we had the Quetzals beat the Huskies 20-6. Quetzals, I didn't even know they had a women's team until a few days before the tournament.
And you did. They played in the district mix last year. Do you remember?
Yeah, but that was a mixed team, and I didn't pay attention to how many women they had. I just knew they were there.
They didn't have as many they had this weekend, but they definitely had like 7 or 8 there, because we didn't have that many women playing at the time, and we made 2 teams. Remember the first ever technically like women's versus women's game? We definitely mixed with them. Like, they didn't have enough for their own team, but I bloody love the Quetzals, and I know people keep calling them a Mexican team. I'm claiming them as Irish because I just think they're such a fun team. Like, I honestly am obsessed with them. They're just fun, and they're fun to like play against and all. Yeah.
I just love how they make it look so casual, and the Tulips did this as well. Like, when they all line up and then they all just start speaking, I'm going to assume Mexican, but they all just start speaking to each other in a non-English language. I'm like, are you planning your play right now? Like, have you not planned what you're doing? Like, and they do it so well. I'm like, why? How is that a thing?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love that you just said they speak Mexican.
I'm assuming
Spanish.
It's Mexican,
Spanish.
It could be Spanish. Guys, I'm a technology teacher.
Mexican's not a language,
Sam. It's definitely Spanish.
What do you mean?
But yeah.
So sorry.
But yeah, the Quetzals, I think.
Have on, Sam.
Yeah. The Quetzals, though, their women's team play, in my opinion, exactly like their mixed team play. Like, they're just so fun.
Yeah.
You know, you can't ever be like.
Fun,
they're always just there to have fun. Like, I'm a big fan. I presume they're going to keep that team up. Are
I hope
they
so.
booked in for any tournaments? We should get onto them by Flagapalooza.
Yeah.
Get them to come over as
I
well.
think they're
Should
booked in for
actually,
that.
yeah.
Are
They're
they?
booked in- They're booked in for something. I definitely saw them
Oh,
on Instagram
fun. Okay.
of them.
They're going to Sport Monda, I think.
Oh, right. Oh, that's good too.
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, because Sport Monda posted after Run the World. By the way, loving how much We Run the World was like going global among the
Oh, yeah.
among the like tournament organizers, because Flagapalooza posted about it and so did Sport Monda. But Sport Monda are saying 2 Irish teams, so I'm assuming that's them. Or the
I
second.
thought it was just the men's team and the women's team.
Oh, here's me forgetting about men's play football. Yeah, okay, you could be right, Sam.
We can play football too. I say
Yeah,
we, I
sorry,
don't.
you're actually, that's definitely what it is. Never mind, ignore, scrap everything I just said. It's definitely not the Quetzals.
Oh.
That is so funny.
It's
But I
our
do-
world, you're just living in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you run the world as the
Yeah,
tournament
we
says.
do. Yeah, evidently.
Yeah, that quarterback for the Quetzals as well. I don't know her name. Apologies to her. She's ridiculous though. She's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just like she's very kind of, she's quite short, but like
mhm.
you know, like there's big players coming, hands up, and like she's not phased at all. Just quick flick of the wrist and ball's gone. Like you're kind of,
Yeah. I am
She's-
very, very appreciative to Ben, Coach Ben, because I think he's really good at recognizing trends. So for us, well, sorry, we haven't moved on to us versus them, but for us versus them anyway, on defense, he basically told me what she likes to do within, I'd say, 3 drives. So like, one of the only reasons it was easier to defend is because he was like diagnosing what, she wanted, because she is difficult to defend against. She's very accurate with her passing. Like you'd have to already be there. There's no chance of you breaking that up unless if you can't just run to break it up. Like you're gonna have to be with the player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then sacks in the country against the touchdown Tulips. That was 14-6 to country. And the touchdown that won it, I actually watched it happen. It's that girl Magdalena again. She actually played on both teams, so she played a lot.
Did she?
Yeah, the picture there, like I remember watching it. She kind of just ran it was basically just a slant route, kind of maybe a bit deeper, but she ran it and the ball was like well overthrown as far as I remember, and she just like leapt about 6 foot in the air, one-handed grab, bobbled it like a tiny bit, but still hauled it in and like jogged into the end zone with nobody anywhere near her. It was ridiculous. Every time I looked over at whichever team she was playing for, it was just her doing something ridiculous.
Yeah.
She was so good.
That
But
little
was-
one from country as well, with she wore her hair down. I don't know her name. I've seen her. She was in Glasgow at the Flagging New Year tournament as well. And the only reason I remembered her is because she wears her hair down playing, which I just think is absolutely wild. But she is so quick. She's very good. She is just she's a whippet. She was playing with country. She had her hair down. She was the only player there with her hair down.
I'm
Little
a man. I don't notice these things.
Okay, fine. You don't
This
notice
one.
it. Yeah, fair enough.
Her.
No.
No?
She wasn't playing with City. She was playing. Oh wait, go over there. She's on the right.
No. Oh, I see exactly her.
Yeah. Her. She was going.
Oh yes. Yeah. When I
Yes,
was
I know
doing the
exactly.
first game, the stats, she was like live streaming it or something, or recording it. Or,
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I don't know. So she was like just standing on the sideline with a phone, and like we kept like nearly bumping into each other, and it was a disaster. But I hope I didn't interrupt their live stream. Apologies to any of her live stream viewers. What's next? The St. Gallen Bears against the Dublin Rebels was 31-0 to the Bears. So, the Rebels, I believe, had like 3 weeks training before the tournament.
Yeah. Very,
So-
very new.
Yeah, very new team.
They have
Like-
potential, I may tell you, though.
Oh yeah,
Particularly
I
with
mean, I was
Kira.
just looking at the names
Like-
on the
Yeah.
roster. Like, I mean, Rachel Savage. Okay, yeah, just throw Ty Henry's misses in there and yeah, that's fair. Fine. Yeah. Kira, as you said, unbelievable receiver. There
Yeah.
was a Johnson in there. I can't remember how Greg told me she was related to him. Apologies.
But
in some
basically,
way
they
with-
got the genetics.
Yeah, she's got the Johnson genetics, so she'll be unbelievable. And like some of those other players, there's no numbers on their team sheet, but they were good. They
Mhm.
did look like there was a lot of potential there. They just didn't have the practice.
Yeah. I wasn't the Bears game that I saw, but I was looking at one of their, like, half of one of their games, and it just looked it looked like it was in its infancy, and that it's getting there. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't look like a team that had trained for ages and just didn't have the talent. It looks like they have it, and I'd say give them a month or two and they'll be there, you know?
Yeah.
But that said, like, that tournament's going to accelerate the development of that team so quickly,
Yeah.
because you don't go to things like that and not learn way more than you'll ever learn from a training session, you know? I think the Rebels could be good, to be honest.
Oh, that is upsetting to hear as a Panther, but as a lover of the sport, I'll appreciate it. Then the next, I'm sorry, Sophie, was Sax in the City and the Trojans.
It was a good game.
41 nil to Sax.
No, we'll just ignore the score. It was a good game. So
Was it?
we played well. You can't tell from the score, but we did. No, we were never going to win that one, I don't think. But well, clearly.
But yeah, I mean,
no, it was good.
I get
Good to-
like they are.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It was good to play against them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's unreal experience to get to play against a team kind of that level, because they are unbelievable. Every single player is outrageous. The quarterback, for anyone who doesn't know, most of the people watching probably, just so happens to be the Spanish national team quarterback, and every ball she throws is perfect. Like it's a straight line exactly to where exactly to where she wants it to go. It's outrageous. So it is not fair that they have all of these players. Like, but I mean, any positives you want to talk about from the game? Or?
No, it was good to play against them. I say we probably learned a lot from it, but I don't think we were ever going to win, and we knew that going into it. So we were just playing as best we could.
Yeah.
But no, it was good.
To any audio listeners who just heard me laugh at Sophie describing, I wasn't laughing at Sophie. I was laughing at Sam censoring her own dog's arsehole there. While
He was trying to climb
crawled
and
around
I
in
noticed
front of the
straight
camera.
away. I was like, Sophie is having a serious conversation here. And he was literally spitting his butthole on camera. Like, so sorry.
Shout out Hugo. Legend of the GreenZone podcast, Hugo. Now, the next one coming up is Rebels against Sax in the Country, and nobody has told me this, so you're all fake friends. Sam, you told me about the Phoenix one I messed up, but this one says 31-0 and has a picture of the St. Gallen Bears on it. So I've a feeling I literally just changed the logo. So I'll go look and find out what the
score was
actual
actually. It was 34-0 to the Sax.
Well, I got close, but the picture is of people who are not playing for either of those teams. So apologies for that to Sax in the Country for making a balls of that. But again, there's not much kind of more we can say about like Sax, either of the Sax teams and the Rebels. Like they're in their infancy, and Sax are Sax. Like they are outrageous. 34-0 is actually a very decent scoreline against that team.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I think they can hold their heads high with that result. Then next one, probably my favorite graphic to make of the whole day.
I know what this is going to be.
Panthers against the St. Gallen Bears, which the Panthers won 18-12. And if you go on the AFI redesign, it's down there, Instagram story highlights of We Run the World, you can have a look at Meg, she won MVP, did she? She won something?
Yeah. Panthers MVP,
given the too small after a pick six. And I sent her a message there earlier on, or last night, when I was going through the photos, and the St. Gallen Bears QB obviously threw the pick, and then Meg comes running through about 4 of her players. None of them get there. And then the QB has her flag in her hand, like she has it like this, like it's in her fingertips. She's got the flag. Like if you freeze frame on just that photo and then ask someone what happens next, every single person is telling you she pulls the flag. And then the next photo is her in the end zone. And you're just kind of go, how have you done that? And like, if it's me and I've had the flag in my hand and then all of a sudden she's in the end zone giving me the too small, I actually think I would retire. I think I would give up. So
the photo though is just not doing justice of how quick Meg is when she does like she wants to be. She's just boom, like it's difficult.
She just appears.
Difficult to flag her.
Like say the photo of her like almost getting flagged, and then the photo in the end zone, like one after the other, and I was taking photos almost constant. Like there's a good like 10 yards between her and the end zone, and the photo, like she gets there quick. So yeah, outrageous player. And thank you for the celebration, Meg. It looked great in the graphic.
Yeah.
Yes, tell us about the game, Jenny, because you were also there and you also scored a touchdown, which I got a great photo of as well, I must say.
Right, I don't know if I've seen that, but maybe I have.
You have. It's the one of you catching it, kind of, and then there's the one of you sprinting that I use for your MVP graphic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, just a good game. I think we were, I don't know, like, sorry to jump back to the Phoenix game, but I felt the Phoenix game for the first half was real jittery or something. Like the energy was real high in like the whole dome. Whereas that game, I think we felt a hell of a lot more calm. And also I think just the first game was over, so everyone naturally was just a bit calmer. So that game felt a lot more in our control than the Phoenix game. Wasn't quite the same, whereas Phoenix felt like it was slipping out of our hands, So no, that game felt a lot more in control. It was that game that I was like standing on the sideline at one point being like, we're ballers. Like what, like this doesn't look like a rookie team at all. I was like, what in the world? Like, because, I felt a little bit more confident after going up to Trojans and playing and seeing the team kind of gel together. But like then at that game, I was like, oh no, we could do this. Like we could keep going and keep winning. So that was like the confidence game for me anyway, for like the whole team. Everyone balled out in that game, to be fair. It was a good game. Like there was a lot of scores, But then obviously Meg just shut it down. She like came alive in that game. Yeah,
she did that in a few games, to be fair.
She did that in a few games. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I remember while I was stat tracking, I was talking to Coach Kenny during the first game, and I kept like glancing over at the Panthers Phoenix game, and I kind of looked at him. I was like, "This is looking like it's going to be a long day. Like that Phoenix team is looking a lot better than us. I'm kind of worried."
Right, so keep talking about it. Yeah,
I literally just said you looked really good.
Yeah, and then what happened?
And then we beat you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it, Sam, but
I don't.
Jenny got a pick 6. Actually, it was really good.
She did, and you know what is really funny of you talking about Megan and that girl, the quarterback having Megan's flag in her hand, not Jenny's like game-winning pick 6, but when Jenny scored the other touchdown, Like, I literally had Jenny's whole flag go through my hand, and I was like, my hand just didn't close. Just didn't actually. And I was so annoyed because then Jenny was also away, and I was like, I'm not catching Jenny. I know that. Like, I tried, but anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, then we made our comeback and won.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, okay, yeah, no, we're okay. We're
quite
good.
good.
We're fine. And then I was watching that game, and we were 18-0 up at one point, and I was going, oh, yeah, we're fine. Like, this is gonna be fine. I didn't realize how fine it was gonna be, but and then
it probably, I think that game felt handier than it should have been. Like, I don't think from and not, sorry, this doesn't put, like, I think we would have won it regardless, given just how well the girls were all playing that day. But I don't think the Bears had their best game against us for whatever reason. Like, it felt handier than it probably should have been, if that makes sense. But like, they're a good team, you know. Now we're obviously better, but as in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As in, they are a good team. So I don't think that was like it didn't feel handy, but it felt handier than it should have been, is what I would say. Yeah.
And I presume I didn't get to see it. I went over to watch presumably one of the other games. Which one? Oh yeah, Trojan Sacks.
Of course.
But I presume they obviously got going towards the end. I mean, they scored 12 unanswered to finish the game. So they obviously got into things.
Yeah.
But it was just when Megas just hit the too small celebration, it's very hard to come back from the demoralization of something like that.
Yeah. And I thought, like, their defense was good, but their man-to-man defense, I think, let them down a little bit, probably. Like, in the sense of, I know one of those touchdowns anyway came off of, well, sorry, maybe it wasn't even their man-to-man so much as how obvious it was they were in man-to-man. So, like, we had a play that we were about to run. I look up, I can see they're in man-to-man. Like, it's very obvious. It's not even, and I just remember going, oh, I'm meant to run a hitch right now, and I'm going to do a stop and go, because if I run a hitch, she's just going to be standing there beside me. And then I'm just very lucky to have a QB in Lauren, who I don't know how, but just reacts so well to me not running what's drawn up. And me just being like, Lauren, I'm gone. Like, I'm down the field, come get me, And she's just like, okay, no problem. Gives it to me. So, like, we got away with stuff there as well, where I actually think their offense was definitely better than their defense. But it was probably just a bit obvious sometimes they were doing. So we just, I think, we just executed well against that.
Yeah. And Lauren, obviously, I think it's
Lauren,
worth a mention.
How's it even taken this long to get onto her?
We'll probably give her more of a mention towards the end, but
yeah, fair.
I mean, like, again, watching that touchdown you scored, like, was that the stop and go route?
There was twice she got me on a stop and go, but then the Bears game was the very first one where I didn't even scream any. The second one, I screamed Lauren at her. That was in the semi-final. But this one, I didn't even say anything. She just found me. We had never practiced that before. I've never even been her slot before that day. So I don't know how. I honestly don't know how she did it still.
And the ball was like spot on. Like, it breadbasket stuff. Like, it could not have been any more accurate. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
and I know in that exact play, because for anyone who doesn't know, I tried to be the QB of the Panthers team and it didn't go so well. Thank God for Lauren being far better than I am. But I know what she was reading there. So she was reading the defender in front of me as to where they went, like if they went towards the center or to me. And so what was mad about that whole situation is she was reading the defender. So to not just throw that at the back of my head, do you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't reading me. She was reading the defender. So I don't know. She's just, she's something else.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
She's going to be unbelievable. Like, she's only playing how long now?
As QB, like, less than a month, I'm going to say. Now we've had her in a second QB that whole time. And like with Wolfhounds, she's been in as second QB as well, maybe since January or so. So she's been throwing a bit, but she's just a natural. She's been a natural at throwing from the start. And then, it was probably a month ago, maybe, that Joe had that conversation, very nice conversation, to be fair to him, with me, basically being like, what do you think about her being QB1 and you going back as receiver? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yes, please.
Can't believe it took this long for us to realize this, you know. But yeah, she's just a natural. That's what that is. And like, yeah, just so calm. Like at one point, I think she made a bad call, or I can't remember exactly what it was. And we were back in the huddle and she was like, yep, just a learning curve. And I'm like, how are you being so mature about this? I'd be like throwing my toys out of a crab. Do you know what I mean? Like she's just, she's just an elite mentality style player. Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We'll continue talking about ourselves because the next game I have listed here is Panthers 12, Quetzals 0.
Oh wait, are you just ignoring other games here?
No, this is the order they're in.
In where? Are you on the app?
No, I'm on the AFI redesigned Instagram. Please follow. Don't already. Yeah, this is just the order I posted them in. So, is this the one where I? This is the one where I fucked up Phoenix's result. So that's why that's not the one now, because I originally posted that first.
Oh, to be fair, I thought Trojans were next, but that's fair.
Yeah, they are after Panthers Quetzals.
Sorry, sometimes I forget that we're literally on a recorded podcast and we're not just talking.
It's fine. It's more entertaining if we're just having a chat.
It seems very rude, but I promise I'm not that rude.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good. Yes, Quetzal. I actually didn't get to watch any of this Quetzals game because I was going kind of back and forth between the Phoenix Tulips and the Trojans Huskies game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had faith in us to, do the business. And you did. Tell us how.
We did. Defense absolutely killed that game. Like, Quetzals are a good offensive team. To keep them to 0 is wild. As I said, Ben read the quarterback very well. Like, I'm so bad at my rights and lefts, but yeah, she liked throwing to the right corner. Like they were within 5 to 10 yards of their end zone a few times, and we shut that down. But because he read that well, because I was always kind of leaning to that side nearly, and anyone who came into that space getting them. But also that was just defense, and it's defense that like I've been trying to rack my brain around how like the team was so good at defense that day, just because defense is a lot. You need reps for defense. Like sometimes with offense, you can get away with like athletic prowess of just run and catch the ball, to a certain extent, but defense, like you have to have an IQ to play defense. So I'm wondering if it is because we have quite a lot of players who their partners played or their friends play. So if they watched enough that actually sunk in, because like we didn't do, and unless it was in a session that I wasn't there, like from my memory, we didn't do a whole lot of like specific scenario training in that situation of, and defending the end zone is really difficult. Like, extra point plays are difficult. And I feel like they were in that situation a few times, even though it was never an extra point, they just got very close. But we seemed to just defend it incredibly well. Like, and even the like flagging on the day was just so good. I mean, obviously we've been practicing that, but yeah, I think the defense absolutely won that game. There's no two ways about it. Defense probably was the best side out of both the whole day, but that game like highlighted it for sure. Just really, really good, smart moves, basically.
Yeah, nice. I suppose now I'll give Sophie her moment. Trojans 6, Huskies 0.
Yep, our first win.
First win.
Yeah. No, it was a good match. Yeah. Thank you. It could have been higher than that, but
I have a photo of that actually of you. I'm convinced you crossed the line with that.
Yeah, I think there was a flag on the play before that though.
Ah, is that what it was? Because I was looking at the photos and I was like, she has both flags attached. She's definitely across the plane. I know I'm not the right angle, but like this is she's definitely across.
No, I ran into a player prior to that, and I think that's what flagged it. So
fair.
It's still good. I think Ellie scored The
She did.
other one.
I'm looking at the photo here. It's herself and Helen.
Yeah.
That beautiful dime to the back pylon.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first game, I think, was it?
That was the middle one, I thought.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Not 100% sure. I'm not sure.
No, it was the first one, and then the pictures I have of this are of kind of Ellie running in to the end zone.
Nice.
And then,
Okay.
because I just kept holding down the button, you kind of see her kind of run across, kind of out of bounds, and then you can see the whole Trojan sideline kind of going mental in the background. And then obviously she runs over to Helen, and there's a nice moment there. You know, I think it was a really nice moment to be able to kind of watch. Like, obviously, as much as I want to be there and support the Panthers, like, you know, I was there the rest. It's fine. But like, I was happy I got to see that, because it was it was a really special moment to see. And like, few tears were shed on the Trojan sideline, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, we really wanted to win. Really wanted to win. And
Also, we cannot move on from that game, Owen, without mentioning that Helen got a pick. We need to get that girl back on defense. Yeah.
That was good.
She is outrageous, man. She's so fucking
outrageous. Like,
It's ridiculous. Actually ridiculous.
I do forget that she was like one of like the top defensive players, and then just was like, okay, I'll learn how to play quarterback because nobody else in the country does.
Yeah, I would say before ECs, like in the summer, for like all the new players who would come down who didn't know the league prior to that, like, and Helen was playing QB, like I kept saying, like, she is literally the best defender we have. We just can't put her on defense because we can't risk her getting injured because we've no backup. You know, if she goes down, that's it. The team pulls out. I guess we all go home. You know, but yeah, she's probably one of the best defenders in the country. You know, she just also happens to be the best QB. So we can't do much about it just yet. Yeah,
no, that's madness. Actually, I saw her in a game later on, which we'll get onto, just blitzing. I was like, how is this fair?
Yeah.
Now, I think the other team were winning at that stage, and it was kind of like one of the last few plays, but I was still kind of looking at it. I was like, if they were doing this all game, like, that wouldn't be fair. Like, stop. Put her on one side of the ball and leave her there. Don't do this. But she's so fucking good. It's outrageous. What's it? Phoenix and Tulips, which I fucked up the score of. Apologies to all Phoenix fans who thought they won the game. They didn't.
It was honestly mortifying coming away from that game, right? Great game. But I had a text from Samuel who was working, and Samuel was like, oh, that score was class. And we thought it was class because they got one touchdown, didn't get their extra point, and it was like a 6-0 game. But we were like so chuffed with that because it really could have been a bigger gap. So we were really chuffed with that. I was like, oh yeah, like we did really well, really chuffed. But he thought we got 34-0, and he thought we were the 34. And I was like, right, didn't know this. And then I looked into our Dragon script chat, and all the boys were like, oh, you guys are cooking, with like screenshots. And then we had to really awkwardly be like, yeah, that's not our score. We actually lost, but thanks, boys. We are cooking. Just.
And then I'm walking to whatever game was next, and I just hear, Owen Conley. I was going, oh no, what did I do? And it's Sam coming up going, you got the score wrong. I was like, oh. Yeah, and then she showed me. Yeah,
so sad.
Sorry about that.
Great game.
Yes, great game. Very good game.
Yeah,
for
really good game.
Those unaware, the touchdown Tulips are essentially the Dutch national team, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So 6-0 against a national team is
Well, that's the thing. I think we were sitting at halftime of the Panthers game, 6-0 up, and Ian was all bigging us up, and then we got to the halftime of that game, and Ian was like, all right, we're in the opposite position. Like, he was like, we now need to be the ones to go and fight, essentially. And it was honestly like there were a couple of calls that I wouldn't necessarily have agreed with, but I think also like, but that's life, and like I can't be like, you know, it shouldn't have been a score. That was the score, and that was fine. Like, and I think there were just a couple of things that like I know as a player I caught up on, but I just caught them too late. Like I worked out very quickly their centre and their widest receiver, who always lined up on their weak side, hated tight man coverage. So then I just was literally lining up on the line of scrimmage. And they had those like mouth guards that had the holes in them. So like I was coming off and being like, I'm literally covered in spit because they're breathing so heavy. But like that's how close I was. I was like they've not spat on me. Because at one point I was like, I'd go for a spit all over me. And they were like, did she spit on you? And I was like, no, I just was close. Like, but they just didn't know how to cope with that. And I was like, see if I worked that out in the first half, like we would have been fine. But I just worked it out too late. And I was like, you know, so learn from it and that's fine. But they were so competitive and they were so like, just unreal game. I feel like we really took away a lot from that, and we like it should have been a way bigger gap than it was. So like we were really chuffed that it was just like a 1 touchdown game. But yeah,
I was kind of glad the other 2 games kind of finished up pretty quickly, so I got to watch a lot of the end of that one, and like just kind of watching that defense again, most of whom had like never really played together outside of like Wolfhounds trainings. If they're on the Wolfhounds.
Like that's it. Like none of us really do. Like it was literally we were getting lined up on defense, and I'd be like, all right, like you stay in safety, you go back, like you take man, and then we would all. But we were running things like I think we had the benefit in a sense of some of us had played Wolfhounds together, but we weren't doing Wolfhound we weren't doing defense the same way as we would do defense with Wolfhounds, because we also worked out in training. Like we were like, because there are some non-Wolfhound players, like we all naturally, I don't want to say these things on a podcast and give things away, but we would see motion and all naturally do something that we all know to do, whereas the non-Wolfhound players,
you're allowed to say it, Sam.
I don't want to give things away. What if some random team are watching?
Don't give anything to the enemy.
I don't want to be the one who gives it away, Jenny. All right, you
fair, just leave it. Yeah. All of a sudden, Nick's knocking your down.
So sorry, but like because there were some non-Wolfhound players, they didn't actually do that. So we were all like having to adapt in the moment. Because I knew if I was lined up beside Haley, we naturally had a different connection than I would have with someone I'd never played with before. So it was just trying to work that out and sort of use it to our benefit, really. But I did get a really nonchalant tackle in that one. I was very chuffed with it, but Owen didn't take a picture, so we just maybe knew what happened.
I have to say, of all the teams that were there, feckin' Phoenix were after me going, did you get a picture of that? No. No.
We all did.
I didn't get a picture of anything.
We'd all do something. We're like, where's Owen? What's he doing?
Well, you've been doing that since the very start. Like at the Wolfhounds game against Sweden, you
No, Owen, hold on. I ran a friggin' touchdown in my first ever drive on offense, and I was like, surely someone has a picture of that.
And I would like to say that is all Joe Kinahan's fault.
Wow.
He was late. Wow. So, Joe Kinahan, fuck you.
Ian,
please give me a lift to training on Saturday. I love Joe. When he's not making me late for Wolfhounds duty. But yeah, in that same game, you made a play and then immediately looked over the camera and like pointed at me. It's like one of my like favorite photos from the whole tournament. It was great.
That was only because I was like, okay, I need to show my boss that I actually got to play. Like I was like, make sure there's a photo of me with the ball so I can be like, look, guys, I played. Love football.
So good. Sorry, sticking with you, Sam. The next game was Sax in the City Phoenix.
Oh, honestly.
First team to score against them, I believe.
First team to score against Sax in the City.
Very nice.
Score against Saxon City, and honestly, like, who was it? Killian, I think, was taking videos for us, and I really hope I was standing nowhere near him, because the screech that was coming out of me as Sarah ran up the field, like, honestly, it was mental. We were all like, she's going past them all, and then you could see them all trying to chase her, but like, Sarah is...
You don't chase Sarah.
She's
Don't
a whippet. She's a literal whippet. I was like, what the heck? It was actually mental. And then I think we got... Did we get one or two? Did we maybe get the extra point?
You got the 1 point. You got the extra point. 40.
And honestly, at that point, I think when we got our touchdown, they were already like 30 points above us, and we were like, maybe we can do it. Maybe.
That's yes.
We were like, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can beat Saxon City. And we didn't, but we did score. So, like, it was such a high, and it was mad, because I think, like, for me, a couple of the takeaways from that game was that Sarah got the touchdown. Unreal. There was at one point where Alice was man-to-man with Phoebe Schechter, which I was like, nothing against Alice, just the fact we're man-to-man against Phoebe Schechter. And then Phoebe ran, I think she ran a post, and then, like, while we're all going back towards the line of scrimmage, Phoebe was like, hey, like, that was really great, but see if you do this instead. And I was like, are you coaching her right now?
That's what I kept saying. I was like,
So
I kind of hate how lovely she is, because you want to feel like this intense like rivalry during your game, and it's just she's being so nice. I'm like, I can't hate you at all. Like, you are the nicest person out here.
Honestly, it was unreal, and like, literally, we, like, at halftime, she like came over and she was like, I'm so sorry if that's like, we were like, no, please continue, like, don't stop, because we were like, that's like, it's, as much as it was obviously a very competitive tournament, I was like, we're going to take these like things that you say away with us, you know what I mean? So I was like, this is unreal. Yeah, it was just one of those things, and like, we worked out, I think we expected they're going to target Phoebe, so very quickly, whenever Hayley was on, we were like, all right, Hayley, like, you're our fastest person on defense right now, so like, you take Phoebe. And then they were targeting that girl that you talked about at the start. Oh, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, number 14.
Sure, but we were then like,
I was watching.
Like, okay, well, it was mental. Like, they were getting themselves. I mean, we'd literally have our hands in between their hands, and they still caught the ball. I was like, how are you? I don't understand how this happens. It was mad, but it was such a good game. Real, like, learning curve, I think, for all of us. But yeah.
And I have just checked. You put up the highest score of any team against Saxon the City. So there you go. That's a win in itself.
See, we basically won the tournament. So.
There you go.
Who got the extra point? Do you know?
I'll check.
Yeah, give them a shout out.
Yeah, definitely be giving them credit getting that against Sax. Probably Sarah again.
Probably, yeah.
No, whoever did the stats that day wasn't very good on our game.
No.
They didn't. Oh no, it was Juliana.
Juliana, nice.
Ah, yes, Juliana from the Outlaws. And Cork City Tabbies. If you are a woman down in Cork looking to play some flag football, Cork City Tabbies, give them a shout. Yeah, that's my plug for the Cork City Tabbies.
Yeah, they seem to have like a consistent 5 at training, so like, that's all they need is a baseline. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll grow pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, Suffolk and Sax in the City were just fine with 5 people.
Yeah.
Now, different situation.
I was going to be like, that's a bit different, but
yeah, but you can play with just 5 people.
Yeah, by summer, like they'll grow. It's just an easier
Exactly,
time to get new players down when it's nice weather outside. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's very true. Yeah, we find that with kids as well.
yeah,
We came off that Saxon City game. We were like, okay, great. Like everybody's like, right, let's have lunch. Like, let's have a bit of food. We'll work, like, find out the seeding games, and that's fine. And then I was like looking at the app, and I like went to like the playoffs, and it was like Phoenix versus Saxon City, and I was like, no, surely I'm not about to play Phoebe within 20 minutes of playing Phoebe. Like, I was like, I don't feel like this.
I
was
will
like, this
say,
noise isn't happening. And
a wise man did give you a very clear and concise graphic on a preview show for the tournament, and then
right,
referred to said graphic the whole time and kept going, no, you're not playing Sax. You might, but you're not playing them yet. You
No,
have another game
Eoghan.
before that.
Owen, you never told me there might have been a game before that. All I was reading on this app, right, was
I told you that
Phoenix
15
or Saxon
times.
City, and I was like actually panicking. But then about 10 minutes later, we found out that we had a game against the Huskies first, and it was the winner of that game went against Sax. But like, we were literally all trying to eat, but then we were like, should we eat? Like, are we about to play a game? But also, are we about to play Sax again? Because I feel like at that point we could just eat, because we're not going to win. That's fine. Like, it was really stressful. It was a stressful wee while, but we got there in the end. So.
Yeah, it was. The app kind of didn't know about the bottom four playoff. I presume you couldn't really put that in the app, so yeah, it got quite confused and panicked a few people. And no one would listen to Owen when Owen said that it was not that way around. But yeah, I digress. The next game on the list is the Bears against Sax in the Country. That was 21-13 to Sax in the Country. So congrats to them, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch any of that game. I don't think I took a few
It was
photos.
close until the end. I know that much. It was on field one, and it was looking like either could have won it until like very near the end. So it must have been. I don't know what
actually,
happened there. I just remember being like, "Oh, yeah, Bears could win this," and yeah.
Because when the Panthers were sitting on the sideline, kind of eating their lunch, we were kind of all talking, where are we going to be seated? And it would be third if they lost, and there was a point where they were losing. We were going, or it would be second if they lost, and there was a point where they were losing, and we were going, hang on, we could be second seed here.
Yeah, that was it, because it was us, City, and Country who hadn't lost any games at that point, so it was going to be going points difference, which would have put us third. But if they lost, we would have gone into second. So yeah, it was definitely really close. And then I don't know what happened at the end. I think I was too interested in getting food in.
Yeah, I was the same, to be honest. I was horsing down a couple of packets of Tato. And then, the touchdown Tulips beat the Rebels 31-0. Again, Dutch national team. Team's been playing 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take anything away from, like, what the Rebels did on Sunday. Like, to go out there and play that tournament was massive.
I think Kira had I think that was the game that I saw her to say she was 10 centimeters off a touchdown and she got flagged, and then they didn't convert after that. And it was, one of those situations where you're just like, no, like she definitely had like a run at 10 yards, and then whoever the player was just caught up with her and just got her. And it's one of those things where I've been in that situation before, where you're running and being like, I'm not that quick, someone's going to catch me. And then you just don't want to look back because that'll slow you down. But if you then you look back on the play and you're like, if I'd looked back, I could have whipped my hips last second. And you like learn from it. But I remember seeing her being like, go! And then it was like right before, and you're like, no, the worst.
That's so that's the last of the seeding games. So obviously every team played 3 games, as was discussed, Sam, in the preview episode. Some people were listening.
I was so distracted. All I could think about that podcast was armpits. So
and licking, more specifically.
Honestly, it's horrific.
So when you were covering Phoebe Schechter,
Yeah.
did you try it out?
I didn't
Or
cover Phoebe. Actually, I didn't cover Phoebe.
oh, well, when
Okay.
Alice was covering Phoebe Schechter in
Yeah.
Man, did you tell her to try it out? Or
No, I wanted to let her have her own weird technique. She did keep saying she was going to vomit, so we were hoping for one of those, but she didn't do it.
she did look quite unwell at one point. I think she just needed food. Like,
I think so.
yeah. So after the seeding games, it was Sacks in the city were top of the thing with 3 wins and a score differential of 127, which is ridiculous. Would have been 134 if not for Phoenix, though. So shout out to guys.
Yep.
And Sacks in the country were 3-0 with a 44 score differential. Yeah, they're Sacks. Like I don't know what to add at this stage. The greatest team in the world, South Dublin Panthers, were 3-0 with a 26 score differential. We were giving everybody a chance. It was fine. The Touchdown Tulips were 4th with a 2-1 record, and their score differential doesn't matter because they were the only 2-1 team. The Quetzals and Trojans were 5th and 6th. Quetzals had a 2-point score difference, and the Trojans had a -28. The Bears were 1 and 2 in 7th. So 7th to 10th ended up in a bottom 4 playoff, which we'll get onto now. Phoenix were 0 and 3, with -53 score differential, but showed a lot of promise, I will say. Probably like the harshest of the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah, I don't know if that like
Record-wise.
reflects their play of the day.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
know.
think that reflects you at all.
Yeah, at that point, I was like, an 0 and 3 does not reflect how well that team has played.
No.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, but if you guys wanted to bring it up, I agree. I didn't know. But we did talk about, like, we were like, if we had a different set of teams that we played,
Yeah.
we were like, this could have been like, wait, when we were at that point, we had only played teams who were in the top 4. So we were like, that's not that I don't mean it like if we got easier teams we would have won, but I more mean like we were playing teams that were at a ridiculous level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think we we handled ourselves well, and that's, I think we were like, do you know what? Like, as much as we've not won games, like we were like, we are not in any way disappointed because we are still like fighting hard. You know what I mean? So
I'm glad the team like thought like that, because I think that's how everyone else was thinking. Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad it wasn't like a disheartening day at all, because I thought it actually looked quite successful, just not if you were to only look at it on paper, do you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Just looking at all the teams that Phoenix played, they played 3 of the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Like, that's it's about as rough as it gets us. Strength of schedule.
And having trained together how many times, Sam? Like, do you know?
Yeah,
trained,
like 6 people, did you say?
four times with 6 people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, the bottom 4 playoff then ended up being, you had the 7th seed Bears against the 10 seed Rebels. Did I even mention the Rebels and Huskies were 9 and 10? They are. And yeah, the 8 seed Phoenix against the 9 seed Huskies. We'll talk about the Rebels Bears one first, because I know I didn't see who scored it. I can probably check here actually. But the Rebels did get their first ever touchdown, so congratulations to...
I think it was Kira.
It was Kira.
Oh, there's no stats. We'll assume it was Kira. You're telling me it was Kira, are you?
It was Kira.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats to Kira for scoring the Rebels' first ever touchdown. First of many, I can only assume, because that team is just good at football, no matter where they play it. But yeah, again, like the Bears with a wealth of experience, so ended up running out 31-6 winners. But I don't think that's really what kind of mattered from the game. It was the fact that the Rebels did manage to get over the line, get their first touchdown on the board.
Yeah.
So, shout out to them.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix and the Huskies. Sam,
Yeah.
you with us? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Thinking about it.
13-7 to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first ever win.
Honest to goodness, like it honestly, like, it feels so dramatic, but it brought me back to Limerick. Like, I literally was, and I could probably cry about it now if I really wanted to, or be shocked. But like, it just was ridiculous. Like, we literally were like Ian was like, you guys are gonna remember this forever, and we were like, all right, like, ha. But it was unbelievable. Like, even wee things, like, we got to the point where I feel like it was just one of those games where I was like, see, if we now had like 3 more games, we would boss it. Like, and we knew it because we just were really gelling together, like, to the point, like, we were able to even recognize things, like, and sort of point them out to each other. Like, someone else had said to me, like, on the pitch, like, they were like, she runs a hitch every time, and they always look at her as soon as they're near the end zone, or as soon as they're near the sort of first down. So then but I hadn't noticed because I was constantly marking something else. So they were like, that's what you need to watch for. And it was wee things like that we were able to be like, okay, you know, if we had more games now, like, we're starting to work out what we need to tell each other. But it was just ridiculous. Like, we got to the point where, like, I think the last drive, we were just killing the time. And they were like, okay, Sam, you're going to line up as running back. I was like, right. Okay. They were like, just get the ball and run as far as you can. I don't think we ever made it. Like, they knew instantly what we were doing, and they lined up so tight, and we don't think we ever got past like 3 yards, and we ran it 3 times. And then Sarah was like, I want to run. And I was like, I'll go center, you do that. And like, even Sarah only got like 3 yards, but we were like, we're literally just killing as much time as we can here. And we were like, how ridiculous that we're at a point now where that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, we were like, we're so confident, because Chloe was like, oh, like, let's try and get another like touchdown, like, we'll do a deep route. And then we were all like, no, let's not give them the opportunity to pick it. Like, let's literally just ball nowhere in the air and see what we can do. And it was like, it was just a ridiculous feeling. But I think in that was the game Rachel wrecked her shoulder. And like, I think that really threw everyone, like, in the second half, because we were all like, okay, Rachel's clearly really upset here. She dislocated her shoulder. And then, but also we still are playing a game. Like, it's not like we can just be like, take a pause. And then, so at the end, we like huddled around Rachel, and it was just big ball of emotion. Really? Like, honestly, it was so ridiculous. But it just felt unbelievable. Like, Juliana and Sarah got the touchdowns, and it was just class. Like, so good.
There was an extra point as well. Do you know who got that? We'll shout them out too.
Gonna say one of them too, but let's find out. Juliana. Yeah.
So,
I think Juliana, Sarah, and Rebecca were our point people from Sunday.
Yeah, Rebecca scored against the Panthers first game.
Yeah.
I saw a video.
Yeah.
Was a little bit upset as a Panther, but it was a good score. It was a very good score. So that meant that Phoenix and the Bears go through to the quarterfinals. So your quarterfinals are then the Panthers versus the Trojans, Phoenix against the Saxon City again. Yeah. Quetzals against the Tulips, and the Bears against Saxon the Country again. So start with the Panthers Trojans games, because that was actually going on at the same time as the bottom 4 playoffs, because there were 3 pitches.
Yeah.
So they put one of the quarterfinals on. One of the, like, obviously already confirmed quarterfinals could run at the same time. So they ran that game, and I mean, I'll let you tell the story of it now in a sec, Jenny. But from my perspective, it was just Meg doing Meg shit.
Yep.
Like, and Lauren doing Lauren shit, because it was like they scored 3 touchdowns, like just 3 balls to Meg for the touchdowns, and it was like it was no bother to them. And then Meg just went, "Grand, I'll sit down for the rest of the game," and kind of let everybody else play a bit. Sophie, you'll probably be able to tell me, or maybe not, who scored for the Trojans. I should know. I was very happy to remember that.
If I'm right, Ellie scored all our touchdowns.
Oh,
If I'm
Jesus.
right.
Yeah, and then according to the app, Hannah got the 2 extra point.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I remember.
I was going to
that,
say, I
actually.
remember Hannah scoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, that ended 19-8. I'll let you two argue about it there.
I mean, yeah, I think you've said it all. Meg just had an absolutely outrageous game. I think, like, her, like, bond with Hannah and Helen just makes her so competitive against them. So she's probably always going to show up as her best when she's against the 2 girls, you know. I just love playing Trojans. Like, they're no offense, Sam, to Phoenix or any other team. I think they're just like the favorite of the club teams to play against, just because it's like you've the likes of Sophie, like Hannah, Helen on that team that you're kind of just going, all right, we got to really show up, like, you know. And we were just really quickly, in particular, to how quick Sophie is, because they were just running her off motions and like just super quick. It's hard to flag when someone's going that quick. So we adjusted quite a bit to like have a bit of a front zone stacked and to look for that. And same with Kelly. Like she was coming off them. Kelly's very, very good at like kind of removing her hips from the scenario, if that's the best way to put it. So like we were very clear, and like we stuck Meg in linebacker, and we're like, just stop her, just stop. So we had Meg on Kelly being like, anytime she gets the ball, just don't let her get past you, basically. And then for Sophie, our adjustment was the blitzer. We always put the blitz the opposite side to Sophie, so that if she motioned and got the ball, she could at least be coming at a similar speed to look to break that up. Because so that was the 2 like big adjustments on D. I think that helped us a lot. But yeah, I mean, we probably for Trojans more than any other team had the advantage of knowing the players a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
which is always going to help, right? Like, because we just know what they want to do. So we did adjust, I think, quite well to them. But yeah, I mean, I think that was like we definitely was no picks in that game. It's incredibly hard to pick anything that Helen throws. So unless Meg did, maybe Meg did actually. I don't know.
I don't think so, but I'm not.
I don't think so. But yeah, no, that was a fun game.
no interceptions.
No, yeah, I wouldn't think so. Helen is very much bullety passes. They're very difficult to pick unless you just really happen to be in the right place at the right time.
This is the stat line that I was talking about for Lauren. That just like it blew my mind, and I actually had to check with Andre, because I'm pretty sure he was the one who was taking the stats, and he was taking it as like every throw was an attempt and every completion was recorded. So some of the stat takers took it as an incomplete was just a QB attempt and a complete was a QB completion.
Okay.
This was all of them were attempts and the completed ones were completions. So she went 17 for 21 passing for 3 touchdowns and didn't throw an interception.
It's just so good.
in a month,
and she's only going to get better. That's like, I know everyone's only going to get better, but like when you're new, your learning curve is real steep. So it kind of terrifies me how good she's going to get. Very, very happy she's on my team. Yeah. Jeez. And might I also add that like Meg, because of basketball, like it's not like she's been training with the Panthers much. So like she came down to the Trojans friendlies all right, but like Lauren and Meg do not know each other as a QB receiver situation.
Yeah.
So like she's finding her, understanding her pace, which is pretty quick. So it's harder to throw, I think, sometimes when someone's going that quick. Yeah, phenomenal. There's like no words left for Lauren. I was like holding my tongue all day on both herself and Zara. Zara was the center that who snapped all day and just being a rookie, like she had one bad snap the whole day. And like when I mentioned, you know, I went up at the very end and was saying how like good she was doing, and she was like, oh, I had that bad snap. I was like, Zara, that's unbelievable to have one. You played 6 games and you were center the whole time. Like she never came off until literally the very end in the final in the last like few minutes. But the two of them, I just didn't say anything to them the whole day about how well they were doing, because sometimes you're not sure if someone will react to that. Like that can be almost more nerve-wracking. Do you know? I just kind of wanted to like, they're in a flow, they're in a whatever, just let them keep going as they are. And so I only said it to them at the very end, but like the two of them, I think Zara nearly went like under the radar a little bit, and just because of Lauren, but like Lauren was also getting perfect snaps every single time. And then, you know, which gives her that extra second to adjust and look. And yeah, the two of them together, they're a very, very nice duo. And there's like, you got 2 photos of them hugging, I believe, Eoghan, which are just so cute. I just love seeing like teammates become friends. You know?
Yeah, I like those photos as well.
Yeah.
And like I'm just looking at the stats here again. We had 8 different players catch a pass in that game. Like it wasn't just like Meg scored 3 touchdowns. Like obviously Meg's great. Meg scored 3 touchdowns and won us the game, but it was a team effort. Like every single player contributed. There's also where's it gone? There's also 6 players made tackles. Like 2 pass deflections, a tackle for a loss. Like this.
Do you know what? Like, I actually think that was probably it. Besides Sax in the City, in terms of all the teams we played, that might have been a bit of a difference that I saw between the Irish teams and the non-Irish teams. In that, like, defensively, you could kind of read who the QB wanted to give it to a lot, and you could kind of lean towards them. Not so much with the Irish teams. Like, even though there are standout players who you know on each team, like the QBs were very comfortable throwing to everyone, which is like a massive testament to the coaching, I think, across the Irish system. Because if you're like confident that your player is going to catch the ball when they're rookies, we're doing something right, you know? Yeah. Like it would have been a lot easier for Trojans in that game, presumably just take Meg. But you can't if everyone else is catching the ball. You can't if Lauren and Danny and everyone are just running down the field when they get it too. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually something I've been saying for like the whole time I've been doing photography for the Wolfhounds. Is like when I go to a kidded game, like whether it's like UCT, like playing an unbelievable game, scoring 50 points or whatever, or it's like, Division 1 or 2 or whatever, I'm pretty much always able to kind of figure out where to point the camera based on the quarterback. Like obviously not 100% of the time, but like you can almost always kind of figure out like generally what direction he's going to go with the ball, or like what receiver even he's going to throw to. I have never been able to read Helen. Like at Wolfhound. She is impossible to read. Like she'd be looking one way and then all of a sudden like her eyes will just flick the other way and the ball is gone. And you're kind of like, give me a second. I can't take the photos if you're going to do it that quick. Like,
Helen's the reason I have to like get my eye discipline way better, because I'm an absolute divil for looking for a pick. And if you're looking for a pick, you're looking at the QB and where they're looking, you know? So she's like the reason I have to like that I'm like motivated to stop doing that, because I'm like, God damn it, you know? Because I think I know where she's going to throw, and then that's absolutely not where she goes.
Again, just Helen being unbelievable.
Helen being Helen. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't. No, she did play defense against us that game, I think, but she didn't play a lot of defense.
I got a picture of her blitzing towards the end, and I was like sitting there going, like, "Come on, leave us alone. Just let us walk out with the win, please." Then the next quarterfinal was Phoenix and Sax in the City. In fairness, you didn't concede as many points.
Hey, we didn't. This thing, you got to live and you learn. We may not have scored that time, but they didn't score as many either. And honestly, that game had a couple of highlights. So funny. One of the girls, Dana, who I believe is a Hurricane, who we met for the first time in the changing rooms. We're all like getting changed, and she comes up and she's like, "Hi, I'm part of your team," and like hugged me, and I was like, "Hello, stranger." But she was honestly so lovely, and she was like, "Yeah, like I haven't really played before." I think she had played a wee bit. Like one of the guys from the Hurricanes had invited her down because they wanted to go to the mixed six, and but she was like, "Oh yeah, I play offense." And then Stephen, our defensive coordinator, was like, "All right, like, I'm going to put you in defense." And she was like, "Oh, I don't play defense." She's like, "What do I do?" Like, literally having a clue what to do. And then flagged Phoebe in the most, like, nonchalant, like, literally, like, just got the flag and then stood there, like, as if, like, "Is this right?" And we were like, yeah, that's right. Yep.
You're doing a good job. Keep doing that.
Do that a couple more times. That'd be ideal. Which was class. And then we also worked out that they were blitzing either right down the middle, or Phoebe went a couple times from the side, and they had put me in at center and Juliana on QB because Chloe wanted to go on defense for a bit. And so I said to Juliana, I was like, if the center blitzes, I'm just going to pause. And she's like, "Yep, sounds good." So I did that, forgot that like once the blitz got past me, I still had to do something. And like just literally stood with my back to Juliana, hadn't moved, and she like screamed at me. And I just turned around and she like darted it at my face, and then caught the ball, started running, and was like falling the whole time I was running, but like managed to miss like 3 flags. And I was like, that was so like, what is going on? Like this never happens to me. I don't like do well with getting out of the way. And then when I caught my balance, Phoebe was just stood there and like took both my flags. I was like, "Hey, I thought I was doing really well against you." But like, it was so funny. She was like, "That was such a good move." And I was like, "Yeah, that was really on purpose. Thanks, Phoebe. I didn't just forget to run." Like, but it was honestly, it was class. Although we then had another injury in that game. Poor Ella did the ligaments in her ankle. Like we turned around at one point, she was just on the floor. I was like, "You okay?" She was like, "No." I was like, "Okay."
Am I right in saying 4 different Phoenix players ended up in A&E?
Not 4 of us. Only.
I know Alice did.
Rachel. Yeah, but that wasn't from football. That wasn't on Sunday.
It was, yeah.
I didn't think it was on Sunday. I thought it was Monday.
100%. I've been talking to her. She was giving out about the fact.
No, I knew she'd been 90, but I thought it was Monday. But so Rachel went straight from the hospital, or straight from the game, because they couldn't get her shoulder back in, so she had to go to the hospital. And then I'm pretty sure is what happened. And then Ella had to go about her ankle. And then Alice, it was just the 3 of them, just the 3. Just the 3 out of our 12. But yeah, 3, mad. Like we were just dropping like flies. Just felt like won a game. Somebody won. But yeah, unreal. And we knew going into that, we were like, okay, the expectation here isn't obviously to win. But I think that made it just more enjoyable because we were just like going out and like not like taking the piss with it, but I think it was just go out and have a bit of fun. At that point, there was no, expectation to make it to the next round.
Yeah. There was one point actually I was talking to somebody and they were trying to work out from the Panthers. They were trying to work out who their next opponent could be, and they were like, "Well, if Phoenix beat Sacks," and we were kind of sitting there going, "As much as we would love that,
hey, don't pretend it couldn't happen, Owen."
I would have loved it. I would have been. I absolutely would have been there for that. But
I would have cried.
Is
it would have been so funny.
Magdalena is Magdalena. But, yeah.
I feel like if they, I was going to try and come up with a way we could have won, but like, there's just not real, is it? I'm serious.
If you just happen to have like years of international experience like that, maybe.
Yeah. When this time, it wasn't even this time last year. I was running around the pitch being like, "God, sport's so fun." If anyone remembers
exactly. That. And like, there you are, like adapting, making serious plays against the Phoebe Schechter super team, as I kept referring to them. because I was trying to distinguish the Sax in the Country and Sax in the City, but I don't to say the whole thing. But yeah, so that was the Phoebe Schechter super team. The other one was not. They were still quite good though. But we'll talk about them actually. I would say one of the upsets of the day. The Bears beating Sax in the Country 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite surprised by that. I presume everybody else was. They were 3-0 going into it, and the Bears had lost quite a few games. So now they had a close game earlier on, but I had kind of thought, nah, it's fine. They'll figure it out for this one. But no, yeah, Bears managed to sneak a win. And then the other one was the Tulips against the Quetzals, which ended 12-0 to the Tulips. And I didn't see any of it, I won't lie. But at the end, all of the Tulips players and their coach got down and pointing at the camera. So that was great. Shout out to the Tulips. I have to give them that shout out because, we'll quickly breeze past semi-final 1, Sax in the City against the Bears, 13-0 Sax in the City because they're Sax in the City. Congrats to them. But greatest team in the world, South Dublin Panthers, toppling Dutch national team touchdown Tulips by a single point in what was one of the most exciting games, despite the scoreline. It was 7-6. I was loving it. It was great. And I had to go take photos of all the games. I was like, Phoebe, just do something there for a second. I'll quickly get a photo. Grant, no bother. We've run over. We'll get we'll go back to watch it. To watching that, and yeah, it was so good. It was obviously the touchdown was Eoghan, wasn't it? Yeah. And I didn't get any photos because it kind of came out of nowhere, and you were the opposite side of the pitch. I was in one corner and you were in the other. Be nicer to the camera next time you decide to score. Game touchdowns if you could. But Zara, who we were talking about there earlier, converted on the extra point.
The game-winning extra point.
The game-winning extra point, and there's another photo of Lauren and Zara hugging.
Yeah.
It was kind of special to see. Take us through it.
So that game, we were at a point of just going what is happening? Here we are in the semi-final. And I thought Joe made the best dad joke, but also did a really good feat of coaching right before that game. So he took us all in, right? And instead of going through a strategy or game plan, he just goes, right, deep breath. And we all just had to take a big deep breath together. And then I was like, that was really smart, because all of us were a bit what's happening? And especially after playing so many games, your adrenaline's really high already, and you're tired, and then he did that. And then he also goes, I think he just kind of went on about, how proud of us he was to even get to this point. And then he said, wait, I'm going to butcher this now, but he goes, there's absolutely no pressure. Pressure is only for tires. We all just cracked up.
I love Joe
it was
so much.
I know, so don't we all? But it was the perfect way to start that game, because we genuinely were feeling the pressure. We definitely were. And he also explained going up to that point, pretty much equal minutes were given across the board. And then, he explained that he was going to put the best 5 on offense and the best 5 on defense to try win this game, and to kind of show everyone what that looks like in terms of, the difference between being uber competitive. I mean, not that everyone's bloody ballers, so it didn't matter in any other game anyway. But even to explain his thinking around coaching and why he was doing something, I just thought the whole start of that game led to the win in the end, because it was just very well done. I was nervous for that game and felt the pressure, and I've been playing a lot longer than some of the other girls, so I can only imagine what everyone else was feeling like. Again, going back to Zara and Lauren, who are new and having to be put in that pressure pot. That there was no pressure though, only for tires. Still the funniest thing that was ever said. But so we went out to that game. So it was It was a slow burner at the start, if I remember correctly, and then the touchdown. I remember lining up the play before the touchdown actually, and I can't remember what exactly happened on it, but I remember just thinking at that point, going, "We need to score because at some point they're going to score." Like, so, you know, I mean, this is we just need to get a score on the board basically. Yeah. And when we lined up, I was like, I saw the safety in front of me, like slightly closer than I think she might have been at 6 yards. And I was just thinking, again, I was drawn up for a hitch and I was like, I might just do it again. I might just run this again. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to not do what's drawn, what I know I'm meant to do. And as I did the stop and went to go, I just was like, Lauren! I just wasn't looking at her, just screamed her name forward and just started running. And she said she was literally about to throw it to the back of my head because the safety actually didn't bite as much as I thought she would. She did take a step, which is why I was like, I'm running. Because if her momentum's going this way, I was like, I'm just going to go. But that was, again, Lauren said she was literally there to throwing it to the back of my head and then just cocked back again and found me again. So it was just a ridiculous move by her. I just screamed her name, hoping that it would work. And it did. And that's how we got the 6. And then Zara to convert that one, obviously, was the game winning. So, yeah, that was that game was incredible. Like, Tulips were so good. They were really, really good. Like, they were disciplined.
So good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have to give them a little bit of a shout out for being so sound as well, though. Like, that game felt incredibly competitive, and the minute that like a play was stopped, like at one point the ball, I was going over to collect our ball over by their sideline, and like one of their players complimented my hair. I was like, we're in the middle of a competitive match. This is why I love playing women. You know, they're just so nice. Women are just so nice, but like so competitive when you're on, you know, like they're hitting you and stuff, and then the minute you're off, it's like, you've nice hair. Thank you.
I can't say I've ever had my hair complimented in any games. Yeah. The men's league.
I mean, that was definitely a first for me as well. But yeah, it was that. It was they were a really, really, really good team. Like, that was definitely our best win of the day. Yeah.
Oh, that was.
But again, defense. I mean, to hold them to 6 points, wild. Just absolutely wild.
Especially like. They scored second, obviously. So we're in a situation where they've scored late on. Mm-hmm. So you kind of know we have to stop this extra point going in.
Mm. Yeah.
Or we could either lose or we could go to like overtime. I presume there was overtime. There would have to be, I suppose.
Probably in the semis, yeah.
But so like the pressure of that, again, only for tires, but like to hold out when like basically game on the line there, like as soon as that kind of was broken up, or as soon as I saw the ball hit the floor, I was kind of, holy shit, like we're going to the final kind of thing. It was unbelievable. Like, just kind of, and Jamie got a nice video of it as well. He had he came from a kidded game, got there, and he was like, do you need any help, Owen? I was like, I love you, Jamie. You are the best. Take some videos for me while I take some photos. And he was like, he took a video at the end of like kind of the moment everyone got like the whistle blows and everyone's kind of celebrating. It was a really nice moment to kind of be there for. I was actually sitting down next to Alice from Phoenix, like when the final whistle goes, because I thought there was a few more plays left, and I kind of just looked at her and I went, Did we make the final? And she's like, I think he's did. I was like, oh, class. Great.
Yeah.
And then I went over to Joe and I was like, Joe, I love that we've done this, but like, I don't have a graphic ready for if we win this. Like, I have a graphic ready for almost everything. I wasn't ready for that.
We have not booked annual leave to go to Tampa. You know?
Oh yeah, on the Panthers Instagram, for anyone who doesn't know, I am the Panthers admin. And like before the tournament, I had like reposted the prize and I'd reposted the rings, and I go, oh, we better send over our ring sizes, and I was like, oh, we better start booking our flights. And then I'm sitting there going, I may have just pulled off an all-time prediction here. This might be the prediction of all time. But yeah. But yes, then, no bother to us. Just straight into a final against the Phoebe Schechter super team, as I kept calling them. And the first play of the game, they score. I think it was probably one of Lauren's only mistakes, was that pick six.
that pick. Yeah.
And other than that, yeah, I can't think of one. I didn't see one.
No.
But yeah, so they get the pick six, and you're kind of going, shit, like this could be
a long game. Yeah.
Very long. But then there's you, Jenny, and you're just like, no bother. I'll just go score a touchdown against the best team here by a mile and make it a serious game. Like, please talk us through the play, because
I'm still really confused by that play, and I would love if it was recorded, because when I watched it, Helen got a video of it, and I would go straight up the middle. But I think it might have been like a corner post, like kind of a rocker step whip kind of situation, but at 7 or 8 yards. But I definitely just caught the ball straight. So I'm thinking what happened there was I cleared, and then Lauren just found me on the stem, because I kind of came back to it. I'm still very confused by that play, if I'm being honest, because I'm near certain I should have ended up not in the center of the pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened directly after I dropped a catch. Well, I just missed a catch, I guess, against Phoebe on a corner. And I remember, so I saw her coming. The ball was absolutely hit my fingertips and I missed it. And I remember just being like, you bottled that because it was Phoebe? Like, get out of your head. Like, what do you, like, stop assuming that you're going to be bad just because of who it is in front of you. Like, just be a player. And so that was like a turning moment for me in that game. And then I was like, hell no, like, I'm just playing another team. Don't let them get in your head, like, you're better than that kind of thing. And so that came directly after that. So that really reset that game for me then. Because I was like, and it was Phoebe lined up in front of me. So that's when I was like, hell yeah. Do you know? So, and again, that was just a great ball by Lauren. And I think they must have been in man because there was no safety back there. So that's how I could just run it straight in. I think I had to run it to the corner in the end, but there was no safety back there, so it must have been lined up in man. But still, I'm confused as to what route I was trying to do. Like, if you actually look at the video, it's not actually a good move by me. Do you know? I think it just
ends up in the end zone is a good move in my books.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, we'll go by that. Yeah.
And I will say, I'll be sending you my medical bills. I have a massive bruise on my hip now because that happened, and the whole like photography job kind of just left my brain, and the whole being a Panthers member, fan, player for however long, I just went, holy shit, dropped the camera, and it just like it was on the the neck strap and just smacked me in the hip. So that's your fault, but I'll let you away with it because it was outrageous.
Yeah. And we finished the half with that score, so it was 7-6 right at the half.
7-6 right at the half.
I mean, like, they got their 6 off of the pick at the very beginning. So for the rest of that half, it was only, obviously, other than their conversion, like, it was only us that scored. That was a competitive game. That's crazy. Yeah.
Like,
I had left for the final because we had so far to go, and I was like, loved seeing everybody play, but also I feel like I know how this game's going to end. So then we were in the drive-thru getting dinner, like on our way up the road, and I was like, oh, Stephen, check the score there. I was like, Eoghan will definitely have posted it at halftime. And he was like, we know what it's going to be roughly. And I was like, just check it. And he was like, holy crap, it's halftime and it's 6-7. And I was like, what? I was like, why did we leave? Like, I was raging because I was like, oh my word, are you joking? Like, I was like, this is, I was like, I need to know the score as soon as you get it. I was like, you need to, because I was driving. I was like, I need you to tell me what this is going to be. It was mad.
I won't lie, that final score graphic went up about 20 minutes after it finished because there was so much going on. So sorry about
yeah.
I also love, Jenny, that you just said that because it was Phoebe marking you that you bottled it, and you told me after that first game, you're like, Sam, you kept making me bottle it.
Sam,
so I love that me and
I don't even want to talk about you, Sam. Owen Sam has got like some sort of a voodoo curse over me. It is so annoying. For some reason, anytime she's near me, I mess up. And I don't know what it is. And it really frustrates me. Like, I really hate it. It's not even like she's like doing much, just being in my face. I'm like,
there.
Piss off, Sam. Yeah. It's so annoying. Like, really is very frustrating. Yeah. Like, I love you, Sam, but piss off. Do you know? Like,
it's a good thing we're the same team sometimes.
Yeah.
Then the next score was Sachs got a touchdown. And then what they did was, I thought, really clever kind of strategy-wise, was they went for 2.
It was.
That meant they were now 2 scores up because they obviously had the point advantage as it was. So they were now 10 points ahead. And like we're kind of 10 points? 9 points. 9 points ahead. Look at me do maths. So yeah, that meant we were 2 scores out of it. So unless we scored in quick succession, it was going to be a mountain to climb. And so that I think was the kind of difference there, was that they were on top of it with their strategy. Like obviously they were the better side overall, but they were getting tired for that game. And I mean, I'm going to say it because, like, you know, if you say it, it'll look arrogant, Jenny. You had Phoebe Schechter locked down. Like, very, very
I think that's a
quiet.
little dramatic, but...
That is not a little dramatic. There was one point where I saw, Spanish national team quarterback heaves the ball downfield. There's Phoebe Schechter. I'm like, all right, game's done. And here comes Jenny out of fucking nowhere, leaps about 70 feet into the air and gets the coolest fucking pass deflection I've ever seen. And I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? Where did she come from? Like, the camera didn't catch it because you appeared and disappeared. Like, straight, like, it was madness.
You know what? That happened. Yeah, it did happen. It did happen twice. My fingers know all about it because it only hit the like tips of them. I was so sore. And the first one, they were both on opposite sides. And or I'm thinking, I might be thinking of everyone, but but both. I was like, oh no, it's both hands. But I was like, from a personal point of view, obviously very happy with that. Not even just because it was Phoebe, but because it was like a real learning for me in EC that by the end of games, end of day, like I aerobically felt okay, but my like muscle endurance was shot and I wasn't making those jumps where I knew like my max height could be. And I've been trying to train that since then, like, basically just started in the gym where I didn't do any weightlifting before. And so that was a real like kind of going, oh, this is actually working if I can still make those max jumps. So that was like just general, really good, like, you're on the right track, keep going for me. But to be honest though, and this is genuinely being honest, like me being able to be in a position to make those breakups is because at that point I was so trusting of the defense. Because like generally as safety, you're like, sometimes I find when I don't overly trust the 2 corners in particular, like you're kind of waiting to see what might happen on their sides, just in case something, whereas at that point, being the 6th game in the day, I was just like, well, I know they're going to do their job, so I can actually do my job at 100% and not be overly looking and trying to communicate to everyone else. So I think it's also just a testament to how bloody well the rest of them were playing, that I was even in a position to make it to the other sides of the pitch and get them, But it was, that was a fun game. That was a fun game. There's no two ways about it.
It was a really fun game to watch. I mean, I think you can ask just about anybody who was on that sideline. Like every time anyone kind of was talking to me, I was just like, I can't. I actually might get sick if I talk to you. I'm so nervous right now. Like there's a chance we win this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately wasn't to be. But like,
no,
there's kind of it's weird. Like you're obviously like you're disappointed that you don't win the game, but at the same time it's against Saxon City, and you're kind of going, we just hung with Saxon City in a final.
Yeah.
On
And
our first ever.
I don't. Yeah. 100%, and I don't even think the score even reflects. Like the score wasn't even that bad,
No,
but I don't think the score even reflects how well we did. Because they got scores at the very end. They got
a garbage time touchdown, and they had that pick six at the start. Without those two, it is a 6-7.
Yeah, and at the end, like we, which at the time, me being just a competitive asshole, was like, we have 3 minutes, we can still win this game. Don't take us off, do you know? But in hindsight, I'm glad I'm not the coach, because it was a great call by the coaches to take people and get everyone else on, because a lot of people hadn't played in the semis. So you're also putting cold players defensively against a warmed up offense. Like that's really, really difficult to do. So like, I think that also just kind of, you know, it comes back to that as well. Like that was Zara's first break pretty much of the whole day. It was her coming off in the last 3 minutes of that final. So there was also like new centers in who hadn't snapped all day. Like it was, but that was a very, very good call by the coaches. I literally at the time was like, what are you talking about? We need to win this game. But yeah, that's why I'm not the coach. So
yeah, but like that's I think Kelly mentioned it on the domestic game, which if you haven't listened to, go listen to the domestic game. Who are they bottom?
Do you plug another podcast?
Bottom or second last of the kitted podcast league table, because again, greatest team in the world, South Dublin Panthers beat the Westmeath Minotaurs. That was why I plugged the podcast. Really, I just wanted to slide that one in.
Wanted to say that. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I really enjoyed the domestic game, and that was a very good episode as well. But yeah, Kelly was saying, like, you know, to have the kind of forethought as the coach to kind of go, look, this game, it is over. Like a miracle maybe could happen, but it's Saxon. We have come this far, and I'm happy with this. I want to give all of my players the chance to go out there and play in a final in their first ever. I want to give them a chance. And that, that's unreal coaching from Joe, from Ben, from whoever made the call. I presume Joey's their coach.
Yeah, but I would say it was Joe. I don't know, but no, 100%. And like the whole team got us to that final, so the whole team deserves to be playing in the final.
Like we were talking about the Trojans result, where like 8 players caught a pass, 6 got a tackle. Like, everybody on the team contributed. Yeah. So everybody, like, you know, you've got like players like say Rachel. Like I was talking to Barney, and he was like, "Make sure you get a photo of Rachel here." Like, imagine you told her like a year ago she'd be lined up against Phoebe Schechter. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that's kind of an unreal moment, and it was. Yeah, I was just looking at. I was like kind of disappointed. Like, oh, the game is over. We're gonna lose. But then I was kind of going, like, he's after putting all these players. Like, I've still got to do my job. I've got to take all the photos because these players have just gotten out there to go play in a final, and I want to make sure they have a picture of that moment. I hope Charisse got as many as she could of that moment as well, because it was just a really nice moment to watch. And then afterwards as well, like the kind of, you know, the shared kind of camaraderie between the two teams, because I think we kind of surprised them as well. They were kind of sitting there going, holy shit, like we're in a game, what's going on? So yeah, it was kind of nice to see that afterwards. And like the selfie as well is one of my favorite photos that I like. The photo of you taking is one of my favorite photos I took. It's perfect for the full graphic that I ended up making. But yeah,
thank God for Marion. That's her. She's always so good at like capturing those moments. That was all her. Yeah.
Shout out to Marion. She played unbelievable as well. Everybody
she did, and she's been sick. She's been sick for ages. Like she hasn't been training, so that's not even her at 100%. She is 100% someone to watch.
Oh yeah,
She is a
100%.
good player. Yeah, yeah.
It does help to have somebody like Daniel coach you like all the
Yeah,
time.
to be fair.
That's a bit of a cheat code. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one of the coaches kind of saying to Roberta Atwell, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, I practice, and she was like, yeah, well, my husband's like throwing me the ball all the time, like, you know, teaching me stuff, and they're like, oh yeah. And then they found out it was Brandon Atwell, and they're like, oh yeah, you're fine, you'll be gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's so like I could go through the list of players we had there, and like tell you all their stats and how well, like, we could be here all night talking about how good that team played. We could be here all night talking about how good all of the Irish teams played.
Honestly, I was saying the whole day that, like, how are the rookies so good? Because they are just better than we all were as rookies, I feel. So that just is really, that just looks really, really good for like flag in Ireland, you know?
Yeah, for the sport as a whole.
Yeah.
See the stats. The top 10, 7 of them are from Ireland in the stats.
Yeah. There you go.
And the other 3 are Saxon City players.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That says it all. Yeah.
And we will I'll point it out because I am a big Panthers fan. Meg and Jenny are both in the top 5. 3rd and 4th, am I right in saying?
3rd and 4th. And then 1st is Saxon City, 2nd Saxon City, 5th is Saxon City. And then
the rest
Sarah at 6, Lauren at 7.
Nice.
Yeah, that adds up. Yeah, I feel we have to mention just one more time. Lauren Kavanagh, 9 passes and touchdowns, over 50 completions on debut. That is outrageous. It's ridiculous. Like, your first 6 games ever, and you're just throwing touchdowns for the fun of it, like, madness. And yeah, like, again, we had 5 wins out of 6, made a final, scored 82 points. Like, yeah, I can't say enough about the performance myself. Maybe you can say more. But yeah, I could go on.
It was like a dream. A dream, honestly. Like, just couldn't have wanted for more. Just couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was special. It was, like, I was saying to somebody as well, like, I have been to every Panthers kitted game since the Shamrock Bowl in 2019. So that was the first one I'd missed, that one against the Minotaurs. And I was kind of, like, beforehand, I was a little bit gutted about it. Like, I came home and I was like, I am so happy I missed that to go, like, watch that, because that was, like, it was just unreal kind of being there when it was all going on, like, getting to kind of spectate, like, all these moments for, like, not even just for the Panthers, for, like, all the clubs, like the Trojans getting their first touchdown, their first win, Phoenix getting their first win, and all of their touchdown. I didn't like their first touchdown because it was against us, but you know, the rest of your touchdowns.
You know, honestly, I think a real highlight for me, right? And it's going back to that Panthers game, and, like, I mean, in theory, it shouldn't be a highlight, but Sarah G caught the ball. I think we were on, like, our, like, first down, possibly. Sarah caught the ball. She's running, and she, like, evaded everyone. And she, like, one of those calls where, like, calls got to be made, but, like, she, like, just stepped over the line on the sideline, but it was on the cone side. So I was like, surely that's a questionable one. Like, don't be mean. But we didn't know at this point. And me and Sarah Edie, like, we both looked at each other at one point and we were like, she's going to touchdown. And we just ran. Like, all of the defense were past us. So it wasn't like we were, like, blocking anyone. But we were just like, she's about to get a touchdown. And we both, like, bombed on her. And then we turned around and the ref was, like, standing at the sideline, like, ball's back here. And we were like, oh, come in. We're all coming. But, like, it was one of those moments where we were like, we just, like, it might be out, but technically we just did that. Like, you know, we were like, and then I think the rest of the day, the scores don't all reflect it, but we were like, we're pretty good. Like, I think we're okay. You know, it was class.
I actually like the scores kind of do reflect it a bit though. Like obviously you played Sax in the City twice. That's just brutal.
It's just
But if you
mean.
take those two results out of it, you lost by one score in both of your games.
Yeah.
That you lost, other than that, and won another game. Like,
yeah.
And the teams that you lost by one score to were separated by 1 point in the semi-final. Like,
yes, yeah.
Like you were one score behind those two teams. Like that's and those two teams were like again 1 point from like a final appearance
winning. Yeah. But that's honestly, I just feel like Saturday, or it wasn't on Saturday, it was on Sunday. But it's just one of those like it was just mad. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those days where you're like, it's actually really weird. Like I really clearly remember being on the sideline of one of our games and turning around, and Helen was crying. So I was like, so the Trojans have just won, but we're in the middle of a game, so I can't think about the fact that they've won. So I was like, that's what I was like, I know I need to put that away a minute, but I was like they've just won their first game, and this is a team who are now like a league team, you know what I mean? It's not just the way we like threw ourselves together for it. So I was like this is huge for them, and I was like really want to go celebrate with like them in like 20 minutes whenever our game's over. But like it was seeing wee things and like seeing the Panthers get into the final. I think it's one of those things where I just feel like Sunday was a real like big, obviously there was 4 teams from Ireland, but it was just one of those things where I feel like because we didn't just go down as like, you know, Wolfhounds under a different name and everyone played for our own teams, like I just feel like it was almost more of a community feel, because we were all like oh, I want to watch the Panthers play and I want to try and see the Trojans and I want to see, you know, rather than just like playing together. Like I feel like it was just a really big thing for like us as a sport in Ireland. It was class.
I agree. It was a big step. I was really emotional that day before all the games started. Obviously once the game started you just switch into game mode, but like on the drive on the way I was thinking about how big a deal this was, how unbelievable it was, and how some of the rookies mightn't even know it. And isn't that amazing? Because I can't wait for the day that it's not that amazing, that we have a tournament like this with 5 Irish teams, you know? So I was like emotional about that, because I would like just even thinking back to when it was like just myself, Hannah and Helen playing with all the men at Wolfhounds training, you know, like it's just, that's not that long ago. So yeah, it was a really, really, really big step, I think, for women in flag in Ireland. And I can't wait for next year. Next year's 2 days. Woohoo!
Yes. Yeah, 2-day tournament next year.
2 days.
Wait, what?
Next year it's same weekend,
you missed that.
Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, class.
Yeah, sorry, that was announced at the trophy presentation.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was probably.
You know, if you'd have stayed to watch us put up a serious fight against the best team at the tournament, then
I just trusted them. I knew. I was like Jenny, Megan, Lauren, all the girls. I was like, I saw
they have this.
Blitzing. Like I was like, I don't need to watch to know what's going to happen here. They're our boss.
Yeah.
And that they did.
Exactly.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Yeah, just on the point of like kind of how far it's kind of come as a sport. Like, I think I said in the preview episode, like there was 8 people playing for the Wolfhounds when I showed up to take photos, like not even a full year ago. And we just had 5 teams compete in an international tournament. One of them made the final. Like, did two others made the quarterfinals? Am I right in saying 2 others? I should check that. I have this information.
No, I think
3 others. 3 others made the quarterfinals.
Hey.
We had Trojans, Phoenix, Quetzals, and then
me.
You were in the quarterfinals. Do you remember?
No.
And yeah, as you're saying, Jenny, like this was a historic moment, but it's not going to be anymore.
I can't wait till it's not.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, that's what I was sitting there when I was putting the graphic together for the Panthers. Go like it if you haven't. And I was, I was putting the word history across the top of it. And I was kind of going like, unless we win like an actual trophy at something, I'm never going to get to use this word again. Like, there's going to be the first women's league game. That's historic.
Yeah.
But like, that's like, we've kind of broken down almost all of the barriers that there are. And like, yeah, it's really cool to see how far it's come as a sport, and like to have been able to kind of spectate that from like the position of like the photographer with the Wolfhounds, going down to Limerick to see it all, and like then being kind of the Panthers and the AFI redesigned at the tournament. Like it's really cool to just be able to kind of sit there and kind of witness all the shit that all of you are doing. I say we. I kept saying we there. I have nothing to do with it. I just take photos. They're the cool
I
people.
disagree. For the record, I think you have a lot to do with it. I'm pretty sure all the cool photos and graphics are enticing people into the sport. I'm not even messing.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look so cool. I genuinely think that that's something that flag has on other sports, honestly. Because like it's so much easier to like promote on your Instagram when there is cool graphics like that,
Yeah.
So I actually think it has a big part. I mean, I think, look, this has gone over 2 hours. People, anyone listening, are well done for still staying
all
on.
3 people left listening.
Yeah, but just I don't think we can finish without just so many people have added to and are the reason that we are in this situation, talking about how remarkable this is. But we just cannot bypass this without talking about Kelly. Because
I was going to say, I was going to bring up Kelly next. Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. Like, obviously, loads of people have put their hand into this and helped move it forward, but Kelly has leaped it forward. Like, the 6v6s is how we got most of them in free Cs. Now to this, like, the amount, I can't believe that, like, she's volunteering all this while doing a postdoc. It's just wild, the amount of work she is putting in. And I'm so very, very grateful for her to do it. Because I don't know who else would, do you know?
I don't think anyone else would. Like, I
would
volunteer to help in any way I could, but I don't know if I could do any of what Kelly does.
Yeah, she just seems to have whatever capacity. She'd probably hate to hear that. She'll probably be like, everyone could just do it, just help.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other people who could do it, but nobody could do it like Kelly does it. Like, Kelly just does it at a different level to everybody else.
No,
she's like mental. Like she's like, I remember finding out that she doesn't actually live here and that she lives in Copenhagen and being like,
and that she flies back for every training session.
Like, I was like, I refuse to believe this human just loves this sport and in this country so much that she just comes back to Ireland, especially in the summer. She was literally coming here like every other week, and I was like, wait, Kelly, why? Like, I was like, I don't understand how you have so much time to come. Like, I was like, what? But like, then when you speak to her about it, I was like, you just love, like, you literally just are so passionate, and it's class. I texted her the other day and was like, like, I was like, I'm so grateful for your passion for this sport, because I was like I definitely wouldn't I would definitely not be the kind of like sports person that I am now without like Kelly pushing it the way it has been pushed. Because like that first day, I know I talk about it and it's like funny, but like I literally was running around being like, sport's so fun. Like, I'd never played sport before, but like I very much could have just taken that day and been like, all right, like, gonna go play now, like, with the Dragons. And like, as much as I love playing with the Dragons, I think playing women's sport is just it's just so different. Like,
it's very, very encouraging. Like, it makes you feel good, So I think that it makes you want to stay in the sport and progress it as much as possible so that other people can have that feeling.
100%.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and like, she's been doing this for years, like since before I'd say all of us were involved in this league. Kelly has been a trailblazer in the league. Like, she was I don't know if she was the first, but she was definitely one of the first female referees in the country before there was really an option for women to play unless they wanted to. It came with men. Like, and then obviously she went to did she go to Singapore and she set up the system
Yeah,
there,
she set
or,
up for a team over there. Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah. Just yeah.
yeah. There isn't enough time to list all the shit Kelly
we
has
need
done.
to
Like,
a whole episode on Kelly.
a whole
appreciation.
episode of just Kelly praise. Yeah, we'll have Kelly on. We'll have her sitting in the middle there as we all just go, "This thing Kelly did was cool. This thing Kelly did was cool." Yeah, no, she's unbelievable and an absolute kind of hero to the sport, because yeah, it isn't here without her. Like,
Yeah.
it's maybe we get a small team to the Euros.
I don't
without
even
her.
know if we do, honestly.
Like, maybe we get like a 5, maybe 6, 7 at best. But like, we're definitely not sitting here talking for over 2 hours about a massively successful women's tournament where domestic teams played unbelievable without all the work Kelly has put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't like kind of the and your graphics have had no Kelly.
No, I'm just sorry.
Kelly
Before
the
this, they have. Yeah. I think. Look, I think there's loads of other names that could be mentioned, but I don't think we should for fear of missing someone else, because there's been so many people that have added to this. I think she's just so standout in it that's why she deserves the recognition, and she deserves for all the rookies to know who she is, and
100%.
Yeah.
And do you know what's actually off the back of what you've just said, Jenny? And like, I know that this isn't let's all sit and talk about how great Kelly is, but like, Kelly will know those rookies too. Like, that's just what she is. Like, I don't think I've ever done a snap of football in front of Kelly without her at some point being like, "Oh, you did this really well," or like, and I always say it to her, like, she's one of the most encouraging people in football, or just in life, that I've ever met. Like, she always is like, "You did this really well," or like, "I love that," like this, and I'm like, I know that that's not a thing that she's just doing to me, like, without a doubt. You know what I mean? So like, those rookies that she'll have seen, she's definitely been like, "Oh, like that person has just done XYZ." Like, she'll know those rookies without a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, amazing. So good.
Yeah. I suppose we should probably finish it there, because Chris is going to shout at me now because I've taken up 2 hours and nearly 10 minutes of his storage space. So,
sorry, Chris.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chris, but it was important, I promise. Thank you to anyone who stuck around for the whole 2 and a bit hours. Thank you to Sam, Sophie, and Jenny for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations to Sax in the City for ruining my evening and not letting me make a Champions graphic for the Panthers. That's all fine. I don't mind.
Did you make one for them?
Did I make one for them?
Yeah, for Sax. You could have made one.
I could have, but it's not as cool if I don't get to put all of the people who are wearing those beautiful navy and gold jerseys. Am I right in saying that's the competitive debut of the navy and gold jerseys as well?
Yes, maybe.
There we go.
Did you
finals debut
playoffs?
anyway?
Yeah, playoffs.
I think we wore white that day.
No, we wore white.
No, I swear
we did. Yeah, we did. I'll look it up now. Hang on.
Or were we in navy for the semis?
I swear.
For the semis, no, because it was all the same day. It was like,
yeah, we hardly
just wore
changed
white the whole day. GMU photography. Anyway,
this can be confirmed later. It's time for
it can be. It's time for that. I think it was the debut of those, and as Ben has always had in the hashtag win sexy.
Yeah,
we do it best.
Yeah,
we win, and we win looking the best. It's I think more congratulations due to the Panthers personally than Sax in the City. Sax in the City just went about business and did business. Panthers really did something. And all of the other Irish teams did. But I like the Panthers more. So, yes, I will finish up now. Thank you to guests. Chris for letting me use GreenZone again to talk about all this, because it needed to be talked about. Even though it was mentioned on just about every other podcast. Please go listen to them all. We love them all. But GreenZone is top of the table. Remember that. Do I have anyone else to thank? Come on, lads. I'm going to have forgotten somebody. Help me out.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Yeah, that'll do. Thanks for listening.